So thank you, Mooji, for everything. So mostly, I don't understand what's happening to me. And I came to Portugal to meet you physically. And yeah, so
you can relax a bit, okay? Relax, it's okay. Okay.
So when I arrived at retreats, I first time sitting with you, right away I felt a separation, and I firmly said in myself that I don't want that. And so during one of the meditations, you were pointing and pointing and pointing, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll experience myself as the universe. And but as the meditation went on and on, I found.
What you found?
Well, you. You. Not physically. Yeah, so. And then now I'm a mess.
You're in a mess now.
I'm in a mess. But good. So.
And what it means, you're in a mess, what it means?
Me as the individual.
Yes.
Yeah, but very happy.
Very happy mess.
Yeah.
I'm sure many people are deeply confused.
Me too.
But I know exactly what you are speaking. The feeling of it. And what I can say is, in much of the time in life, we have to develop a sense of being someone, going somewhere, having a definite shape, or at least a definite dream or vision about what you want to achieve in life. Because everybody does it, and we pass it on. Your family also expect it of you. School also, you go to school, they already trying to find where is your strength and point you in that direction and whatever it is. Plus other influences which are probably untraceable, actually. So it's no wonder that we have a sense of being a particular kind of shape, and this shape, this is my shape. And my conditioning is contributing to the sense of who I am, my values and so on all of this. So everybody has a bit of this. Even whether you turn out to be a Buddha or a Christ, you had some early conditioning. Nobody's escaping this thing. And for many people, for much of their life, they continue trying to fulfill their dreams or their expectations and projections about life and what it should be, and to try and get life to take the shape of your projection. But it doesn't work, and we know it doesn't really work. It's mostly running on fumes. We do everything, but it doesn't work the way your mind creates a kind of life, a kind of world, a kind of sense of what would be your perfect life. And life will not satisfy that. It's not the point. So anyway, we carry on. We're experts at this. But at some point, whatever it is that caused you to turn your face in the direction of self-research, to look into really who really am I? Many people come to this question. Sometimes because of some tragedy that happened that crashes their dreams or their world or the shape that they believe was so much a fact gets shaken up, and it stirs up a deeper questioning for many people. And often they end up in what you may call spirituality or some form of religion or so on, in search of a way that they can have a better grasp of what the world is, or to make sense of their life, or something like that. Some of them come here. Others go different places everywhere in search. I don't choose. Here, you are immediately pointed to something which is always present. Always present, always pure. This is the good news to start with. That it is not something that you can develop. It is already perfect. There is already a harmony inherent in this universal manifestation we call life or existence. And it is not merely a myth or a spiritual fantasy, that it is possible to awaken to that reality within your own self. So something feels, yeah, I'm up for it. I want that. I like the picture of Buddha. He looks very peaceful, And Jesus, he's got a beard, but he's very, very, sweet guy and full of wisdom, and he works miracles, or whatever it is. Whatever is our attraction there. Something is enough to initiate some attraction to explore a little bit. And your exploration may seem like it's out there, trying to find what's really out there. But really your discovery is in here. What you're discovering is inside. And many paths, they give you a kind of a projection. You do this, and after this you do this, or 15 steps to awakening, or whatever it is. And it is appealing to different types of orientation, different types of tendencies will be attracted to particular paths for a while. Here, I don't want to point you to 15 steps. There is something that is here before even the first step is taken. You see. If truth is truth, and it is eternal, it is infinite or timeless, it must also be here now. It cannot merely be the gift or the reward at the end of some striving. Then you have done it, and then, you've found it. It may be this too. It can come in this form also, because every path is an expression of one consciousness, expressing in diverse ways. But here, because it is immediate, and pointing to something which is immediate, something which is not, you're not going to develop. The mind, the conditioned sense of being, or our mind or ego, likes the evolutionary path. It feels totally natural, because in every other aspect of life, one evolves and becomes better and more pure, or more skilled, or more whatever, more. And it's very appealing to most people, because it seems totally consistent with the rest of life. But your self is not like that. Your true self is not an evolution. It is always pure. And that is the first thing that is presented to you. What you are searching for is already here. And some people immediately think, well, rubbish. I have not found anything in my life that I can say is beautiful. So, I'm sorry, I cannot. That's not my path. I know that I've got to get rid of all my stuff. I've got to become a better person, and I've got a long way to go. And then eventually, maybe with some blessings and grace, I might come a bit nearer. Some people feel like, they have many more lives ahead. Life after life, they're getting closer and closer and closer. But here, I throw that out. We put you straight away to look at who you think you are. Who do you think you are? And the way that you conceive of yourself, is that a fact? Is it a truth? And by truth, I mean that it is steadily true. Not true today, maybe not so true tomorrow, next week it's gone. It cannot be the truth. There must be something which is not subject to change, and it is already perfect. but not perfect as is conceived through the human instrument, like the human mind, because the mind cannot be constant about anything. It will find the most beautiful thing and think, oh, I'm going to be happy forever. And in a short time, it's not happy. It wants a more beautiful thing, isn't it? And we know that. We are old enough to admit that it's true. I have not found anything that I have been constantly delighted with, isn't it? Some people say, oh, I have a childhood sweetheart, but they married somebody else. My heart is broken. And somebody tell them, actually, they're divorced. Really? Oh, stand a chance. And then somehow you go and and then somehow you're together. Oh my God, I can't believe this. This is the most fantastic thing. And if God himself came and says, but darling, I have awakening for you. You say, can it wait? Because I got to give this a go. I mean, like, this is more appealing to me than awakening right now. And if somehow you meet up with your desire, your beloved, it will not be what you imagine it to be, isn't it? Because the nature of things which you conceive or you get is that they cannot continue to satisfy your projections, because they are not your projections. And at some point you'll come to wake up to this. I am not saying that life, it will be disappointing. It will only be disappointing if you keep appointing it to be something more than it needs to be. You see? Ultimately, for some people, they discover that everything that they have tried as other has turned out to be not satisfying. Now they want to find that which is not other. Then life, nature, universe, God, grace, whatever you want to call it, seems to arrange something for you. Brings you into a place where you can begin to explore meaningfully, experientially, to make a discovery, to satisfy that urge inside your heart. So I just somehow found myself saying this to you. Now you. So you came to satsang. And in being in satsang, somehow, perhaps you may have had some projections or something, who knows, but something has happened, is that your idea of who you are has been somehow beginning to deconstruct in some way. The idea we have of who we are, our self-image, you may say like this, is not holding up under the light of your own introspection. Something is crumbling. And naturally some fear comes, because a lot of investment has gone into being the person you now believe you are. You see? But it was not satisfying. Otherwise you would not be here. On some level something must want to go more, or to go beyond, or to get out of a certain mindset. And this has been the stimulus for bringing you to a place like this. And so something is happening, and it is good that something happens. Even if your world is shaken up, it is good. Because somewhere out of that will emerge something very pure. You must have a sense of that, don't you?
Well, there's a hope for that, but still the way that life's been so far, just very full of grace of a lot of suffering. And so the trust that...
What is the suffering? Can we just slim down a little bit and just go frame by frame?
Okay.
What is suffering?
So past belief of the individual suffering.
I see.
Yes.
I mean, the ideas you have about life and who you are is falling apart a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that hurts.
Before I
it
come.
hurts.
No. There's surrender in that, because it's not working. The individual I is not
yeah,
working.
yeah, yeah.
It really doesn't work.
Yes.
And so...
And what is observing that?
well, I'm hoping myself.
Okay, let's say it is observed.
Okay.
Yeah. So if it is observed, it cannot really be the observer of it. The falling apartness of the life that you invested so much energy and belief in somehow seems to be crumbling. But there's an awareness of this, isn't it? Now, can we start there? Because I think it's significant enough to take a look at that.
Yeah. So there's some joy and excitement
Really?
in that. Yeah. that is falling away.
You mean a joy in anticipation or an actual joy in real time? You mean you really are feeling happy?
Yeah, if I am with
With what?
myself, if I'm with, my words are not very good. I'm
No,
new
no,
to
that's
you.
good. No. We don't like too much expert at words here.
Good.
Just feel it out. Let's feel it out.
Yes.
No?
So there's joy. And that's why I was so disappointed that the separation came when I first met you. And I just said, no, not separation. I want to become you, and you become me.
You want to experience a sort of unity, a harmony, a oneness, or something.
Same.
Yes, yeah.
Space. I don't know.
Yes, it's good to not know exactly.
Lots and
Yeah.
so.
Because when you don't know, there's space for discovering. When you have the sense that you know, something just gets dull. Like you know it, it's safe. When you don't know, then there's a space. There's more spaces there. Then you may observe and you may discover.
And still, it's very messy here and very messy. And I said yes. Be messy, be messy. Just.
If here is messy, does it mean you are messy? Same thing.
This I don't know, but the sense is
something is
something.
Observing messiness. No, there's a place called messiness here. Do you know?
Yeah.
We were. What's it called? Messiness. We always go past it somehow, but anyway, there's a kind of messiness, but also there's an awareness of messiness. This is very significant, because if really you were messy, you probably wouldn't even notice it. You understand? You probably would not notice it. You notice it because you're not that. Something is aware of. Now it's messy. Now it's getting better. So you are observing some phenomenon, something. So the very fact that you're aware of something is being messy, I only say don't identify. Observe, but don't identify. Also, it doesn't give anything to your experience by identifying, apart from making it feel claustrophobic. So just now, messiness is happening. No, and then there is a space there. There is the awareness of messiness. So if it changes, they'll be aware that now the messiness is going. So don't define yourself by what you can see. You are the perceiver of it.
It just must be true.
It must be. We're not creating. We're not creating. You're only observing. It's not even a belief system. Even though you don't even so much need to believe or trust or hope. Your cool and sober seeing is enough actually to confirm. Suppose you're messy all the time. You would not tell people you're messy. It's just the way things are. And when the way things are, you don't say, look, I'm breathing. Nobody can say, look, hey, I'm breathing. Unless somehow you almost died and then came back and, oh, I'm breathing. But normally you don't say I'm breathing because everybody breathes. You see, So you will not say what is natural for you. You don't speak about it. So you speak, oh, this my mind is in a mess, meaning that it's not my natural state. It's just behaving like this today. So something is aware of this. And I'd like to see if I can go further into that with you. If there is an awareness of, say, a state like messiness, and it feels very strong, like it's really messy in here, okay? It would mean that it is observed, this messiness, but that which is observing it is corresponding with it on some level. It means that it matters to be messy or not messy. So that observing or observer is not the pure observer, because it has some relationship, some interest to be not messy, or this is too messy. You see? Okay? If we understand this thing, then somehow even that observer becomes a kind of quality. It's linked with the sense of messiness. I really feel messy, and I just wish I would be more like yesterday. I was feeling calm. So there is a desire there. So that creates a kind of a particular way of seeing yourself. And that is what I would call, it is still phenomenal, meaning that it is just a shape, it's a feeling. It's not constant, it's a sensation. As soon as that observer is detected, then it also floats forward as also another phenomenon being watched. And a deeper awareness, which is not personal, becomes evident. Does anybody follow what I'm saying? Thank you. Anybody follow on this side? Okay, okay. Never mind, just coming. So, this is not easily understood in the context of our usual way of conceiving and perceiving and relating, because almost always it's on the basis that we are this. I am this body, and I'm the person living in this body. That everyone feels I am a person. I'm a man. I'm a woman. I was born in the Caribbean. This is my upbringing. That's just the way I am. And we embrace this identity. Although if we simply observe a little, you begin to find that at different stages throughout my linear life, I felt very differently about who I am. I've had different identities, different ideas. Even sometime in one day, I feel very different. Sometimes I'm a very kind person. And sometimes, he's a real little bugger. This one. Another time, very deep. Another time, very superficial. And so, you cannot be rigidly any of these things. You see, they're like a kind of portrait of the moment, a self-portrait of a moment. It's always changeful. But there's something that is constant, in whose presence the changeful self-image or images are perceived. I am talking like this. I don't always talk like this, but right now I'm talking like this for you. Something, an idea we have of who we are, mostly held in memory, somehow in the light of a deeper seeing or introspection, begins to wobble. The idea, the self-identity begins to wobble, and it feels deeply uncomfortable, because for a while you feel, I don't know if I'm on steady ground, I don't know, my life is falling apart, and people say things like this. And just about that stage is when we call for help. You go to see a psychotherapist, or somebody might actually take you to some place and they section you for a little bit and just say, this one is not coping in society, take her to the White House or whatever. So yeah.
Yes, and that was, I was very close to that before I came here.
Yes.
So very close. And
But
yes.
nobody tell you that this also can be a trigger, a very important stage in your unfolding, into consciousness. It is not encouraged or perceived in beautiful ways in our culture. You see, you're not meant to fall apart. And yet, to be totally free, something has to fall apart. Okay? So it doesn't mean you're going mad. These are just the cultural symbols that we use and say, oh, right, she's off her rockers again, or whatever it is. You see? And it seems as though to cooperate and be accepted as a usual, normal member of society, you've got to be very straight and boring, but we don't use the word boring, we just say consistent, okay, or whatever it is, okay? And you are not allowed to be unique, particularly, because if you're too unique, nobody can rule you. Understand? This is not anything against government, because the government also has to come to satsang, also. I would like to see, okay? So I'm not speaking against, because contrary to what we may think, the government don't know more about truth than the citizens. They may know about the kind of, they may keep things hidden, but the things hidden are not truths. They're not the truth of life or of being. It's just they're holding back some of your tax, or they're doing something, or they're manipulating. That's not truth. That is all to do with, a little bit to do with our misconceptions about life. And so, if your life is falling apart, it's only that you need to fall apart in the right place. Okay? You can fall apart. If you fall apart at work, it's not looking good. If you fall apart sometimes in your marriage, don't look good. See? Because they can't cope. You fall apart in school, it's not good. You fall apart even in church, not good. You see? Fall apart in politics, not good. Fall apart in ashram, very good. Fall apart in a true sangha, very good. Necessary. There people will not feel sorry for you. They may even envy you. I want to fall apart like that. I've been waiting here. I've been waiting here for a good falling apart. Nothing is happening. My mind is too tight, whatever. Okay. Because we know that the outcome, you see, you cannot laugh like that in society too much also. I think, what's wrong with her? Why is she laughing? If you're crying, everything is fine. But if you're laughing, it's not allowed. Sign of madness, too much laughter, too happy, something very strange. So, and some of you have come, you have done a bit of laughing yoga, you see that it's, you're allowed to just act out and to release some of that pent-up frustration, which is caused by this need to always be in control and to be always, reliable and to be very nice and to be courteous and to get on with it and all this type of stuff, which is also okay. It's okay, but it's not great. Okay, so something begins to maybe sometimes just deconstruct a little bit. And here you are encouraged and supported to relax and to trust the process or the undoing. Because in the mind, it feels like if I collapse like that, then I seem like I'm just dissolving into infinite space. And, I've got a job, I've got my family to take care of, I've got the cats to feed. I mean, how am I going to cope, Mooji, if I just become the universe? I said, well, you're going to be fine. you're going to be super fine. So most of the trouble is the mistrust and the fear of not knowing. And much of the most beautiful discoveries comes out of not knowing. Sometimes the sense of knowing can in some way restrict you. And very often, even in the search for truth, the mind goes ahead and has a lot of projections about what it is to find truth, like somehow you'll be able to do miracles or levitate or different things like this. But here you're discovering a very natural, very simple, the simplicity of being, you see, and the spontaneity of existence, your own existence. And that you don't have to be saving up techniques to live in life. that you are not someone living life, that you are life. And at the same time, the witnessing of the life that is unfolding also. And that is not something that's easy to explain, and this is why I don't want to explain too much. I prefer to sit with you and watch you discovering. You see, I don't want to give too much shape to what you should discover. It will be a fresh thing, a beautiful thing. But always, it will be pulling you into a harmony. Beyond merely intellectual knowledge or conviction. A truth cannot merely be a theoretical finding. It has to be a livingness, an aliveness. And the less you're able to speak about it, paradoxically, strangely, the more authentic it is inside you. Because truth is not some special secret cluster of concepts or something. Truth is life, and what is indefinable and timeless, unborn, pure awareness. These are words that I can use, and they only point to something which is beyond words altogether. And this something, nothing, is you. And you're here to somehow recognize it profoundly within your own self. It's like this. So again, it is not something that you're cultivating, truth. If practice is anything, it is to help you to recognize that which in itself is not a practice. And who is the practicer also? If truth already is, then who is the practicer? You have to find out. It cannot be truth practicing. Who is practicing? Who is seeking? I say it is yourself in your self-portrait as a person. The idea we have of who we are, that is very tightly believed in, is still consciousness. It is consciousness. But it is consciousness that has adopted the body as its root, as its ground, and the belief, I am my conditioning, I am my identity. And that is a distortion. And that distorted consciousness will go through somehow the journey of duality, true duality, and to make use of whatever wisdom it applies to find its way home to its own self. That's one way I can put it. There are other ways people put it. I put it like this for the moment. So your falling apartness is not such a bad thing. It's a necessary thing. And in fact, you are going to find what you are cannot fall apart. All that's falling apart is presently the idea you have of who you are. And it has to fall apart. The idea we have of who we are is suffering from other ideas it has about itself.
One more time, please.
Our self-image is suffering from its own projections. That is not the truth. All that you imagine, believe, think about, dream of, or are attached to, all these are sensations in you. It's okay, it's not a terrible thing. I don't see how we can refute it, in fact. Right now, something is very strong, it's so powerful, I don't know, and then it's gone. And if I say, can you retrieve it? Right now it feels totally like a fact, it's real, undeniable, but in a short while you cannot retrieve it. It's gone. Everything is like yesterday's newspapers. Everything is going. Only by memory somehow we seem to hold a link with many things. There's something here that does not need the shape of or the identity of a person in order to perceive. Your consciousness can be very fresh, free from that limitation of personhood. It is totally in the now, fresh. We are attached deeply to memory or to identity, to certain kind of relationships deeply. Without this deep attachment, there's a functioning that is very happy, very harmonious. It doesn't mean that if you're a mother, that suddenly you'll stop being a mother. But you may turn out with some very enlightening motherhood. Who knows? You see? Because I don't think that the role that the consciousness plays will suffer because of awakening to a deeper truth. It cannot suffer. It can only be enhanced. But in some way, it won't be as deeply meaningful or passionate in a way. It won't be like that. And nothing is meant to be like that. You don't have to be so passionate about anything in existence, actually. But yet you may relate and enjoy. And the responses to life will be felt more to be something spontaneous and fresh, like I'm not doing them. Anybody who pays close attention and observe themselves or their emotions will come to see that there's a kind of happeningness about them. They just seem to happen, like a thought just seemed to happen in my mind. Before a thought occurs to you, did you know it was coming? Did you order a certain portion of thoughts for the day? Do you know what is going to be your next thought? You don't know. They are random somehow. But what happens is that when the certain thoughts come, there is a kind of relationship with them. They have to connect with the thinker of thought. They have to connect with some identity. And then together they can clap. It's like a thought arising, but for no one is like trying to clap with one hand. When it connects with identity, then somehow it can produce some noise, some sound. And many thoughts, you can say potentially, appear or arise in the space of consciousness and don't register because there's no interest in them. And you don't have to transcend something if it has no meaning or interest for you. Can you imagine if every thought potentially that arose inside you had to get registered? There would be no space in you at all. If everything you see with the eyes kind of became a photograph inside you, everything you taste registered, how long would it take you to be full? So very often in your natural functioning of life, how marvelous is the consciousness, because it can look at anything in intimate detail and not have to soak it up. Doesn't have to register its presence. Doesn't have to press save. And most things are like this for you. Maybe 99.9% of the possibility of perceiving something is like that for you. But a little bit we have a particular relationship with certain kind of thoughts, and almost always they are personal. Almost always the thoughts that stick and cause trouble have a personal quality about them. Like I'm not good enough, or I still have a long way to go, or I want to be special, or it always come back to being something personal. And it is okay. There's always going to be some play like this. However, you don't need to be stuck with them. You only need to recognize, acknowledge, and confirm your true position. Presently, we are deeply identified with personality. We enjoy and suffer from the place of personality. But personality itself is a phenomenon that is not consistent. Watched from a deeper place, a deeper awareness. What watches personhood? What watches and perceives the functioning of the senses, or the sense of time, or space, or life? What is observing all of this? Without passion. You don't need imagination for this, what I'm asking. First of all, can you refute or acknowledge that whatever you call your experience is only what is reported to you, only what has arisen in front of you and has been somehow validated by you at some level? You are the witness of what you call your life. What is witnessing all of these things? And I don't want a mental answer about it. Try and understand the question. And there's a light inside the question that is guiding the question to a place of recognition.
So there's a sense of what you're speaking.
What even observe a sense? From where is even a sensation even perceived? By what is it perceived? Again, no answer. The fact is, it is perceived. Can the perceiver of even the most subtle sensation, can the perceiver itself be perceived?
Mm-hmm. That was the meditation. And so I was so happy that I didn't find me and that I found you. Because me would have been messy.
If you find me, there is still you and me. And you yourself are greater than me in your finding. You are the one who is observing.
But it wasn't you, Mooji.
So then if it's not me, then this you and I must be same. Because it come a time when all the sense of separation will become unbearable. And that is grace. And there's nothing you need to speak about. Somehow just digest your seeing. Nothing you have to talk about. Often when someone comes to this place of recognition, I say to them, go home, go to your room, and zip yourself inside your sleeping bag and don't come out. Marinate in your seeing. Don't touch other. Very good. Tell me, what kind of tears are these? What kind of tears are these?
I have no idea. I don't care. I don't mind. Yeah, it's no problem.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay. Very good.